So to all our friends out there in real estate land in Aotearoa, welcome to our session with Lance Burdett, one of New Zealand's most respected crisis negotiators, mental resilient experts. Well, I need all your advice on that one, Lance. Over 13 years of experience with New Zealand Police, national advisor, negotiation team, qualified negotiator, worked with the FBI in Australia. It just goes on and on with those famous hostage negotiations. And he's widely quoted as saying things like, make it all about them. Ask, don't assume. Man, have I made those mistakes plenty of times, Lance. And focus on the process and not pressure. So Lance, welcome. Appreciate your time. Today, we just want to talk about what we can take away, because in real estate, it's about being the best marketers and it's about being the best negotiators. And we just had that little brief before how you've recently just done a real estate transaction around negotiation. So what were some of your key findings with that, Lance?
So you've got to expect the unexpected. On settlement day, the buyer hadn't put through their paperwork, so we spent the 3 nights in our house in limbo with our furniture on trucks, and we slept on the floor of the lounge for 3 nights. And we had some camp chairs and a little TV, and we hot-spotted our phones, and we lived the dream. So some of the things that we'll talk about is I do it now instinctively and intuitively. When you go through any challenge in life, we catastrophize and we expect our brain to send us information. And what it does is if you hold something in your head, it goes back through our timeline, back through our memory, and it brings all of these different situations to mind. What it's doing is problem solving. And you think, oh no, I'll leave that. The brain will go back over it. The first thing it says is shoulda, coulda, gonna, wanna. You should have said this. Next time you're going to. Next time you right. So we beat ourselves up. So if something happens, which is what happened to us, the settlement fell through on the day. I'm with the lawyer, and I'm going, you've just destroyed our life.
Yes.
And all this, because she said, I'm not putting it through. It's after 4:30. I'm like, and so all these thoughts come, and I sat there and I thought, well, let's talk about this. You have to talk about it. Otherwise, if you don't, you start having similar events come to you, and all of a sudden we have 5 things on our mind when only one is relevant.
Yes.
The one thing that I really stood out for me with our agent recently was the measure of a person is how they accept setbacks. Your industry has a lot of setbacks, right?
You say, Lance, welcome to the not now, no thanks, not interested business.
So we must reach out to others. So there's 3 things we can do when we catastrophize, when our brain goes through auto problem solving. We can write it down to get it out of our head, right? So writing it down, like writing a list of things you have to do across your day, you forget to look at your list. So that's why, because it's out of your head. You can read information. Now, the problem is, you've got to go to validated sites when you read information about things. So you'd go to for your industry, REA or someone like that, and have a look and see what's in there and what you can do and what your, consumer New Zealand or whatever it might be. The first thing you read is stuck there forever when you're in a heightened state. The best thing is talk. Kōrero. 4 things happen. Number 1, it's out of your head. Number 2, always tell people how you feel. The reason for that is our memory is held by 2 things. Repetition. If we don't keep doing something, there's something called pruning. We will forget how to do it.
So I love the simplicity. So correct me if I'm wrong, but in summation, write it down, read information that's obviously quality information that validates it, talk about it and share it with someone that you clearly
That's it. So then you just reverse that order.
So pulling that back into, like, in the market at the moment, there's a lot of pressure, Lance, on vendors, who need that, they're under pressure, and there's agents that are under pressure, and there's always this gap in the negotiations that's high pressure. So what are some of the mistakes that you've personally seen or dealt with around poor negotiators effectively in those high pressure situations? What are they missing?
But essentially what agents would once do, and I'm sure some still do, is they come in and they build you up, and then there is a couple of home visits, and they slap you down.
We have an analogy called the zone of lost credibility. So yes, start out going, Lance, we're going to get you 1.5 and you love us and we're all happy.
There you go.
A week later, it's what's called conditioning.
Conditioning, that's the term.
The feedback's 1.2, 1.2.
Look, I see right through it, right? What organizations don't understand, Our brains are different to what they were 10 years ago because of technology. Technology influences our thoughts because we get dopamine. Now, dopamine is the only neurotransmitter, i.e. neurochemical, that we learn from. Number one, it's about them, not you. It's always about them, not you. So make it about them. Then use your skills to support what they want. Into touch with another agent who this house that we bought from, who's really good, even though we weren't their client. Hey, look, here's a little checklist now that you've bought a house that you might want to consider thinking about. This, the power, water, that sort of stuff without asking for it. That's helpful. If I buy you a coffee, Aaron, next time we meet, you're going to buy me one.
That law of
That's human behavior, right?
Yeah.
We're now hyper vigilant to risk, but we're hyper vigilant to empathy. We've all become a little bit more empathic. I wouldn't put it down to REA or anyone else that's changed your industry. The people in your industry are getting much better. But they still have, some of them still have that little focus on, I need this sale. Well, you don't think that the person wants that house?
Yes.
Just swap it around. How can I not sell it to get my commission? How can I sell it to make them feel like this is their home?
Yeah, we have a terminology called commission breath, when the agent's pushing too hard because they just want to make a deal.
You push on people, you push them away. So if we can get people to talk more about their needs, about what they want, and then go, okay, and don't suddenly say, I might be able to make this house work for them. No, give me some more detail. Take them into some places, and we'll take you to see 3 houses and you save the best for last or the best for first.
The law of comparison, that's what that is.
Yeah, and if you're not authentic, we can tell.
When you said you push on people, you push them away, right? So if you're not authentic and you're pushing too hard, then you're missing that that whole process of engagement.
The idea is that both people come out of the negotiation, feeling like they've achieved something. Want to pay as much as we did.
Yes.
But we wanted the house. The owners that were here quite rightfully hunkered down. We just kept going up and I went, no, that's enough. We couldn't get as much as we were planning for our place. So we just went back to the agent for this and said, there's a gap.
Yeah.
Would they be prepared to come down? And they did. They came down half. People will sort it out themselves.
Let's imagine that you buy a house for $1 million subject to the sale. You don't get as much for yours. You're going back to the first party saying, hey, great news, we've sold, but we need to make you a further concession.
We didn't get as much as we'd hoped for.
Yeah.
Is there some way that we can absolutely take a step back when people walk through the door? Don't stand in the doorway, welcome. It's not about you. It's about them and the property that they are viewing.
In your perception, how our brains are different now because of all the information on what's going on. And in some ways, the best salesmen, the best negotiators are saying less and getting out of the way versus
just get out of the way.
The 1980s, you got to sell with scripts and dialogues.
Here's the kitchen. We can kind of see that.
Yes.
Because it's got a stove.
Yeah. We know it's a kitchen.
No, stop that. Anything you do or say that they feel is disingenuous, that they feel is pushing on them, you will push them away and they'll walk away and they'll say, it's got nothing to do with the market, right? It's not because there's lots of other houses to see. No, because we want this house. So it's about stepping back and watch it happen. Crisis negotiating. So my specialty was suicide intervention, crisis intervention, right? You listen, 2 ears, 1 mouth, and you just follow their lead. You give people time to express what they want. What are you looking for? Well, we'll tell you when we're ready. At the moment, we're looking.
Beautiful.
So let them look, and then they'll come down and talk with you. And that's if you're just sort of relaxed and against the, hi, what did you think? And they'll tell you straight away what they liked and what they didn't like.
Yeah.
Follow their lead. And if you're a human, if you're a person, they will just see you for that, rather than I'm a salesperson or I'm, I I want to make this commission, or, and I know that you've gone away from that, and that's really good.
And tell me, Lance, I was just going back to our brains are different. That's really ringing in my ear.
Yeah, yeah.
How can agents, like at the moment, we're delivering indifferent or bad news that no one wants to hear, and quite often we
Mm.
all avoid, those calls or those conversations because no one's likes having an uncomfortable conversation. What are some of the take homes for agents on how to deliver news that people don't want to hear, whether it's a vendor or a buyer? Because there
Mm.
is that pushback.
It's a great question. So we used to use the praise sandwich. It's got another term. I know everybody's thinking about it right now, what that term
Commend,
is.
recommend, commend is a Toastmasters one.
Yeah, that's it. That's the other one. I mean, stop that. People can see right through it.
Yeah.
Um, so you can praise and then give negative, but you're finishing on a negative. If you finish on a negative, the negative's going to continue. We want to finish on a positive. So we communicate in threes, right? Facts, feelings, future is the way that we recommend. If you're going to give disappointing news, don't say, unfortunately. There's some research being done on this in 2020, which says our communication style has changed because our brain has changed. Now, they looked at 75 million messages. That's
Yes.
good data
Yeah.
going
Yeah.
into a crisis center.
Yeah.
And they used a trawling tool, and they found three things. One, never start your sentence with an apology, unfortunately, or sorry, because people don't hear anything after that, right? So we shouldn't start with an apology. Words are more inclusive, so changing the words I and me to the words us and we. I'll have a look and see what I can do. That's about you. I'll have a look and see what we can do. That's about you and the organizer of the company.
Yes.
Or let's have a look, you and I, about what we, the organization, can do.
Do.
And we're less blunt. We're less blunt with people. So we don't say can't, we use words like unable to. So the way that we do it is we call it a negative, neutral, positive, not a positive for them, but how to move forward. So negative, that's something we're unable to do, or your offer has not been accepted.
Yes.
The reason is they have a higher level. Let's have a look and see how we can balance that out.
That is just gold.
And they just go, oh, there's still a chance. Absolutely.
Never
Right.
start with it's how many times I've seen where people apologize. I know it's a low offer, chat, 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 chat.
Oh,
So,
don't do that, because
yes.
you hit them with a negative and they don't hear anything after that. So you've got to tell people why. We're born curious, Aaron. If you see if you see a sign on a door that says staff only, what do you want to do?
You want to go and see what are the staff getting?
You want to go and have a look, right? Because the
Yeah.
word only is there. If
Yes.
the sign on the door said staff, you're not interested.
Yeah.
It's because it said only.
Yeah. Never start with an apology. Use inclusive language and
Yeah.
facts, feelings, and deal with the
So you
future.
go to, so it's the negative. So what is the message you want to say? What's the reason for you saying it?
Yeah.
And then how do we move forward on that? Or this is what we can do. What's your thoughts? It's you. You're the one. You're the most important person here, not me. It's a bit like when I do keynote presentations. So I get up and do this presentation about how I, running my business and doing okay. And one of them asked a great question, said, you didn't introduce yourself nor gave your experience. I said, you're not here to see that. You're here to see what I have to, how I might help you.
Yeah.
If you want
One of
to.
my pet hates is when someone gets up and for the first 10 minutes tells you how good they are. No, you're here because you're good. So tell me what I can learn. But
Yeah, don't. That's it.
mate, and that is just such a good way to finish, Lance. I have taken down notes and notes. So
I'm
I'm
still
gonna
going. I've got plenty
I'm
left, Aaron.
I'm gonna analyze this data till it comes home. But Lance, look, I just wanted to say thank you very much for your time from someone who's been around a long, long time and thinking that, you never know everything. You've taught me a lot about some techniques that I can use in negotiation, and I look forward to seeing you out in the street at some stage. Thank you very
Great.
much.
It's my great pleasure. Thank you.